Hey guys, I'm Livvy, and this is my first ever Q&A video for Livvy Plays Final Fantasy. First off, I really want to thank you all because I could not have had a better experience running this blog for the past 2 years, and it's really all thanks to you. I've got some questions here, and I'm going to read them right out of my inbox. If you're someone who submitted a question and I mispronounced your URL, I'm really sorry. Joffre asked, what was the first Final Fantasy game you ever played, and what was your favorite moment from it? The first Final Fantasy game I ever played was 3 for DS, and I don't know if I had a favorite moment, but I really like walking around the village of the ancients. The music is beautiful, for one thing, and the NPCs talk a lot about light and darkness and the importance of balance. I think it's really interesting and really refreshing to visit. Makinyan asked, what would you like to see in a future Final Fantasy game? More Evilies? I'm kidding. I really would like to see greater diversity in terms of personality among characters. Because I think even 15 games into the series, a lot of the characters tend to fit into similar tropes. I think it would be really cool to break away from those tropes a little. Anonymous asked, do you like Tifa only a little bit? Do you think it was wrong of her to lie? Oh boy. I used to really like Tifa. I used to think Tifa was like the end-all be-all for strong female Final Fantasy characters. I've kind of come to the conclusion recently, though, that a lot of her choices revolve around Cloud, which is not necessarily a bad thing to begin with. I mean, Tifa's a very loving and supportive person, but I think because she's a potential romantic interest for Cloud, that does kind of make her lose a little bit of her agency. She's always there for Cloud, for better or for worse. And despite all the mistakes he makes, and she really helps him come to terms with a lot of decisions that I think he needs to make himself, I think it is wrong of her to lie. I don't think that the moral ambiguity of her actions was thoroughly explored within Seven's plot. So, do I like Tifa? It's really complicated. I definitely don't think that she's a fantastic female character in terms of agency, but I think she could be a really strong role model for women and girls. Okay, next question from Q Baba. I hope silly questions count too. Oh, they definitely do. If the lunar whale was a living being like Sin, how would a fight between Sin and the lunar whale go? That's a really good question. But, I mean, Sin has been destroying things for like 1,000 years, whereas the lunar whale was kind of hiding under the sea. Both are pretty reminiscent of their technologies of their own eras, but I mean, I think Sin would probably have to win because, I mean, the moon people were mostly about peace and stuff, whereas Yu Yevon is like, destroy Bavel. So yeah, it's gotta be Sin in that case. Sorry, lunar whale. Ronson Booby asked, who is your favorite Final Fantasy voice actor or voice actress? Definitely Gideon Emery, because Balthier's voice is just beautiful. Velthomer asked, top 5 Final Fantasy booties. First off is Ash. Ash has a lovely booty. Second is Fran. Third, Balthier. Fourth, Ramza Beowulf, probably, and 5. Well, I'm just going to continue the Evilise train of thought. Ashley Riot. Okay, so there's 5 wonderful Evilise booties. Nui Fox asked, which of the games you've played so far has been able to emotionally move you the most? Well, Tactics absolutely destroyed me emotionally, so play it. 12 is up there too. Pretty much anything in Evilise. Although 9 is definitely a very close second. 4 too. I mean, those games really are very emotional for me. Air Sparta asked, the 13 series has been utilizing fewer playable characters with each installment. Do you think they're trying to make the games more story-driven by focusing in on fewer characters, or is it something else? That's a really good question. I have not played much of 13.2 yet, and Lightning Returns isn't even out yet, so I'm really not sure what, if anything, they're trying to get at by doing those. I know, from what I remember, I think Toriyama just said he was trying to switch it up in terms of having only one playable character for Lightning Returns. I don't know if there's any one thing they're getting at, but it's going to be interesting to see if having only lightning is going to make some kind of statement. I don't know. It'll be interesting. Safest Sephiroth asked you, in your opinion, which game did you most develop? With which game did you most develop the overall style and pace of your blog? Also, do you have a favorite Livvy Plays Final Fantasy playthrough so far? I think my first playthrough of 12 in March of 2012 was when I first really started getting the hang of doing playthroughs. And shortly after, I did 10. I'm still astounded that I managed to do 10 in less than a month. Somehow I did. I think 10 and 10-2 were probably my favorite playthroughs. Also Tactics, which was done in that time. I think it was just being able to look at things from a fresh perspective, and having Tactics too also really enabled me to go in depth, just to let out, and it really challenged my skills as a writer too, which I think that was probably one of my favorite things about it. Vernal B asked, what's your favorite thing about doing playthroughs? Probably meeting all sorts of new people, because I usually meet one or two new people that I really start talking to with each and every playthrough, and I absolutely love that. I could not imagine doing playthroughs without different people there to give insight and support, and it's been absolutely amazing in that sense. Out of Frequency asked, how do you usually choose who to put in your parties? If it's a Final Fantasy with a job system, what classes do you favor? Do you have a favorite character from a gameplay perspective? Wow. I'm not... Usually, I tend to go for an all-out offensive sort of strategy. I'm really not that much of a tactical person. I don't tend to use buffs or anything like that. I usually tend to favor knights, dragoons, warriors, monks, classes with very high offensive powers. Sometimes I'll throw in a black mage in there. Do I have a favorite character from a gameplay perspective? That'd probably actually have to be Lightning, because, the Commando, Ravager, Medic combination, that's probably it. I think that's probably everything I look for in a Final Fantasy character in terms of gameplay, so it would probably have to be Lightning. That's all for now. So thank you so much for the questions, and thank you for the last 2 years. It's been absolutely amazing. Thanks a lot, guys.